Blake Snell gets shut down, but a replacement starter may soon be arriving. We're going to take a look at the NFL draft for the Rams, Chargers, UCLA, and USC. And the press insinuates that JJ Redick has a potty mouth. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. It is April 24th, 2025. We got a lot to talk about. So do you like being in the know about LA sports? Well, if you do, click the like button. Click the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, quick look at the scoreboard. Cubs 7, Dodgers 6. Believe you me, the scribes, they are all bemoaning the great Dodger struggle. Oh, the struggling. Life is such a burden. Guys are just one game out of first. And it's just April. So, shh. Meanwhile, Kings 6, Edmonton 2 at Game 2 of the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Adrian Kempe, 2 goals, 2 assists, and LA leads the series 2-0. Game 3 is in Edmonton on Friday. Everybody had a great time over at Crypto for the last couple of games. Totally get it. But keep in mind, all Edmonton has to do is hold serve at home and steal one game in LA. In other words, it's not a series until somebody takes a game from somebody else's home ice. The Kings need to win something in Edmonton. Then they're in real advantage. As for today, Denver's at the Clippers. That game's at 7 o'clock. Game 3 of the first round of the NBA playoffs. The series is tied 1-1. What do you say we get to the news? You know, less than 2 weeks ago, we were all told by the Dodger coaches, the Dodger brass, hey, Blake Snell's just going to be out for a little bit, just a week or two, ramping up for his return to the Dodgers rotation. It's going to be imminent. And, hey, it's all he had. Shoulder soreness. Tain't nothing. Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Well, 2 owie-filled throwing sessions later, and the Dodgers done shut Snell down. Snell reported that even playing catch, quote, didn't feel great, unquote. And The Athletic reported Snell might get more imaging on his arm, which is odd because he's already had an MRI, and MRIs are generally the best exams for soft tissue parts of the body, i.e. joints. And the first MRI reported no structural damage. So in other words, the Dodgers can't find good pitching coaches, and they can't find a good MRI tech either. So well done. The 2-time Cy Young Award winner is the 3rd Dodger pitcher who was on the opening day roster and currently injured. But that's 3. The season just started a couple of weeks ago. If you really want to know how many Dodger pitchers are currently injured or on rehab, it's 12. Seriously, 12 guys are injured. And sometimes you got to admit, or I got to admit, I look at pitching coach Mark Pryor and I see not a guy in a Dodger uniform. I see Leslie Nielsen in a 3-piece suit standing in front of an exploding building in the movie The Naked Gun. Please disperse. Nothing to see here. Please disperse. 12 guys injured by my genius coaching. Blake Snell gets shut down. But there does appear to be help on the horizon. And not only can he pitch, but ladies, he loves cats. Tony Gonsolin reached the 6th inning in his 4th rehab start in the great manure pit of the Midwest, Oklahoma City. And because he got to the 6th inning, it may be Gonsolin's final rehab start. Because Dave Roberts was repeatedly saying he wanted to see if the pitcher could go at least 5 before talking about bringing him back. Gonsolin allowed 2 runs. He struck out 3, averaged 93 miles an hour. He was able to even hit 95. Now, if he were able to get 5 days of rest and get promoted, he could theoretically start Tuesday against Miami. So, once again, daily Dodger injured pitcher updates. Let me know what you think in the comments thread. I would love to call this our grand NFL draft preview. Oh, so exciting. Oh, so grand. Oh, so opulent. But it's hard to get excited when both local teams draft in the 20s. I don't care how many ads you see for ESPN. I don't care if somebody breaks out the paddles and pumps 50,000 volts into Chris Berman to keep him alive through the first round. Somebody get the old man with the 1980s music resets and nicknames. Somebody get him an oxygen mask. Keep the nurse ready just for that moment he's starting to crash. It's not exciting when you're in the 20s. It's just not. Now, The Athletic is reporting the Rams are looking to trade up from their current first-round pick, which is 26, in order to acquire one of the elite tight ends. Now, I don't know if that's true. There is so much disinformation, as they say in politics, that comes around during the draft. But if it is true, it does set up something a little interesting. There's about 3, maybe 4 elite tight ends in the draft pool. And one I've seen on the big boards is Colston Loveland of Michigan, who is a player coached by, wait for it, Jim Harbaugh, former Michigan coach, currently over with the Chargers. And oh, by the way, the Chargers too would love to add a tight end, which is kind of hilarious because as if the Rams didn't screw their roommates over enough when they signed away Poona Ford in free agency. Now, we're going to keep things super basic here because, again, there are so many sourceless, pointless, unsubstantiated rumors going on out there. People are just making crap up just so you could click, right? And so right now, again, not that exciting to be in the 20s. More often than not, the Rams would take a pick that way and say, yeah, we're just going to trade down. What's the difference between 26 and the second round? So yeah, a tight end would be nice for the Rams. They currently have 8 picks in the draft. Not only would a tight end be neato, any receiver would. Remember, Cooper Kupp is gone. Then after that, you could sit there and go, okay, right tackle, linebacker, cornerback. Very unlikely a linebacker or a cornerback in the first, by the way. Maybe quarterback, but here's the deal. We are now reading a bunch of stories about how Jackson Dart, former USC quarterback, wound up going to Ole Miss, how he is just rocketing up the old draft board for a lot of teams, probably won't make it out of the top 7. So that idea of the Rams stealing away a quarterback that would replace Matthew Stafford when the guy retires to be with his drama queen wife, yeah, not likely. Not likely. Here's something about the Rams that has nothing to do with the draft, by the way. Former Rams linebacker Mel Owens, a guy who I actually saw play when I was a kid. He was a linebacker in the 1980s. He has been named the Golden Bachelor. Golden Bachelor. He is going to be a reality TV guy where he will reject a kennel full of painted up silicone-enhanced cougars. Hope he brought a bucket of Viagra and perhaps a blindfold. Hey, I don't want to, I'm 57. I don't want to look at myself having sex, let alone somebody 2 decades older than me doing it with his, no, I'm good. Meanwhile, for the Chargers, they do have 10 picks. It starts with the 22nd overall. Their primary needs include defensive line, particularly the interior. We already talked about how Poona Ford jumped ship, went to the Rams. Receiver, there was pretty much only one guy who had actual fingers to catch a football in the receiving room last year. That would include tight end, I might add. And guard. Remember, that interior offensive line got torn to shreds against the Houston Texans last year in the playoffs. But what about the local colleges and who could get drafted? Well, honestly, I could see a minimum of 3 UCLA players get taken. a minimum, possibly as many as 5 or 6. The sure things to get drafted are defensive players, starting with Carson Schlesinger, who transformed himself into a tackling machine, and he should get taken in round 2. Maybe he gets in round 1, but definitely should be in round 2. I've read multiple reports from scouts who love edge rusher Oluwafemi Oladejo because he is just flat out relentless. Maybe he is day 2 as well. Maybe not round 2, but day 2. Others who could get called are defensive tackle Jay Toya and linebacker Kane Medrano. You might be surprised to see that despite USC making a bowl game and the Bruins just flat out face planting, the Bruins actually have the better prospects. I've read a lot of good things, for example, about Trojans offensive lineman Jonah Monheim, but the NFL, they're kind of ridiculous. Micromanaged to this bizarre point. The question is not, hey, can you play? Can you be a playmaker? That's like meh to the draft board. No. They're interested in how long are your body parts. Now, you go up to a lady and you ask how big or small their particular body parts are, you're going to jail. You do that kind of stuff to a dude in the NFL draft, you're doing your job. Go figure. Now, Monheim is versatile, plays all across the offensive line for USC, and yet he could sink in the draft because he has short arms. Short arms. But coach, he fought Michigan's elite defensive line to a stalemate. Nah, we don't care about that. We just want to see if he has arms proportional to an orangutan. If not, you're day 3, pal. Short arms. Lots of NFL draft stuff to discuss, even when you get away from the pointless rumors. Meanwhile, prior to being hired, I admit I spent a lot of time suggesting that if the Lakers hired J.J. Redick to coach, there was a major risk involved because he was a media pundit. Look, maybe Redick looks at his former colleagues in the press when he's being interviewed by them, and in a fit of immaturity, he remembers what it was like to be on First Take, and he just buries particular players on the team, which could lead to dissension in the ranks, and then the whole season spirals. That was my fear. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't, right? But it does behoove me to defend Redick here because there was a hot mic during a timeout during game 2, and Redick just lost it. This is what he said, quote, "Jesus effing Christ, the F are you guys doing?" And of course, he didn't say F. He completed the thought. Now, look, this does not count as anything that would tear the team apart. And the press really hyped it up. It's nothing. It's nothing. Coaches have been known to lose it during timeouts. Moreover, the bench is not the same as letting stuff out of the locker room. The locker room is kind of sacrosanct that way. The bench, not so much. Big difference. And by the way, the players know this. The players absolutely know this. LeBron James basically added a big dose of sanity to this non-controversy by saying, quote, "We know JJ's going to spaz out from time to time," unquote. Absolutely correct. He's absolutely correct. And to be honest, the only foul that JJ committed here was against the Lord. Coach, you need to go to confession on that one, pal. Don't drag the Lord on national TV. Not a good look when you hit the pearly gates. We talked a little about USC football. Over with USC basketball, forward Rashawn Agee has entered the transfer portal right before it closed. He also added a do not contact addendum, which I wish worked as well on my iPhone as it does in the transfer portal. My God. But why would a player put do not contact if he's looking for a new gig? Would it not suggest that he already has a new gig lined up? Don't know where, but that's why you would do it. You know where you want to go. Now, Agi was decent with the Trojans. He averaged 9 points, 4.5 rebounds per game. But there is a larger issue here for USC. It's not just losing another player. Look, USC knew they were going to undergo drastic change. They lost a lot of players due to lost eligibility. So fine, it's inevitable. But the top 2 players that they were hoping would return with eligibility, their top 2 scorers left in the transfer portal. So now does AG. So that's a lot of offensive production that has to be recouped. If the 2 top scorers had stayed, and then you add the new guys coming in, the team looks a lot more, I should say, formidable. Now, not so much. Midfielder Frankie Amaya is returning to Major League Soccer. He will join LAFC on loan from Toluca FC of Liga MX FC. He played for 2 other MLS teams before the New York Red Bulls sent him to Mexico on a $4 million transfer. Now down there, honestly, the dude didn't produce results. Just 2 assists in 18 matches. He joins a midfield that the Black and Gold has rebuilt since last season. Also, Sparks assistant coach Nikki Blue has left that team. She will take the same job over at USC. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread, because that was a lot to get through. Talk to me about the state of Dodger pitching with Blake Snell down and possibly Tony Gonsolin coming back. Also, what is your big hot take on the NFL draft? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James, and we'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.